This is not the same Rivian R2 that the company originally revealed to the public, and it is not just one or two small changes that happened along the way. When you actually line them all up, Rivian has made a surprising number of changes. They have just never talked about all of these changes together in one single place. Some of these changes are genuinely better and actually improve what the R2 offers you. Some of them are real trade-offs that every potential buyer needs to think about carefully. And a few things that have not changed tell us exactly who this vehicle is for. By the end of this, you will know whether the R2 still makes sense for you. Or maybe you will find that it has become something quite different from what was promised. Let us start with the biggest shift in the entire R2 story, and that is autonomy. At the original R2 announcement, autonomy was part of the conversation, but it was not central. Reg talked about self-driving and where Rivian wanted to go with that technology in the future. But back then, there was no sign that autonomy was actually shaping the vehicle itself yet. That has changed now because the R2 comes with LiDAR built directly into the vehicle itself. It is paired with Rivian's brand new Gen 3 autonomy computer, which they are calling RAP1. That combination changes the focal point of the R2 in a very significant and meaningful way. Adding LiDAR affects packaging, wiring, powering, and cooling, which are the true fundamentals of any vehicle. This tells you that LiDAR was not just a small feature add-on that came at the end. It was a genuine priority shift that changed how Rivian thought about the entire vehicle design. Or maybe this was the plan the entire time, and Rivian just did not show their cards. Either way, there is one important catch that every early R2 buyer needs to know about now. The LiDAR hardware will not arrive in early vehicles until somewhere around late 2026 at minimum. So if you are an early R2 buyer, this change exists, but you will not experience it. And as far as we know right now, you will not be able to retrofit it later either. Rivian is not building the R2 around what autonomy can do today in the real world. They are building it around where autonomy needs to be in just a few years from now. LiDAR will likely only enable true eyes-off driving somewhere in the future, which remains largely unknown. So this alone is not something that should make or break your purchasing decision right now. There will be people who buy the R2 specifically because of LiDAR, and that completely makes sense. Now let us talk about the changes that may actually sway some buyers in a real way. The first one is about the front seats, and they no longer fold completely flat in the R2. To be clear, this does not happen in the R1 platform either, so that is not new. The difference is that the R1 is big enough that sleeping inside it still works comfortably. With the second row down, you still have plenty of space to actually lay down flat inside. The R2 does not have that same luxury of space, so this change matters more for it. When the front seats cannot fold flat, sleeping in the R2 is going to be a tighter setup. But this was not removed to save money or cut costs in any kind of way. It was changed primarily for safety reasons, and those reasons are very real and very important. Front seats that fold flat create real challenges with crash structures, restraint systems, and airbag deployment. Rivian clearly decided that with the smaller R2, that particular trade-off was simply not worth making. Yes, you are losing some interior flexibility, but you gain a simpler and safer cabin design overall. It is also a design that is easier to certify and much easier to build at scale. The next change is the one that really changed expectations, and it is about the accessory port. At the original reveal, Rivian actually showed a dedicated toolless mounting interface right on the rear bumper. The idea was simple, and it was very much in line with what Rivian stands for. It was a powered plug-and-play port that let you snap on things like bike racks easily. This was not just a port, it was meant to be the foundation of a whole new ecosystem. You could also attach camp kitchens or other gear without any tools, adapters, or third-party hacks. It was truly meant to be a core part of the R2's adventure and outdoor identity. But since then, that entire feature has quietly disappeared and faded away without any real explanation. Rivian quietly removed it from the website and never made any big announcement about doing so. To be clear, the R1 never had this feature either, so this did not affect existing owners. What changed here is the promise that was made to people who were excited about the R2. Early on, the accessory port made it feel like the R2 would double down on modular accessories. That direction clearly did not survive the transition from concept stage to full production reality. And that matters, because this was not just a port, it was an entire planned ecosystem. Stepping back from that tells us something very important about where Rivian is now taking the R2. Rivian is no longer betting on niche vehicle-specific accessories to define what this vehicle truly is. Instead, it seems they are betting on simplicity, compatibility, and being able to scale efficiently. For some people, stepping back from that modular ecosystem is going to feel like a significant loss. The idea behind first-party accessories that work seamlessly together is genuinely something many buyers wanted from Rivian. But being locked into a walled garden is not always what is truly best for the consumer. It is another example of Rivian tightening the scope of the R2 for the sake of practicality. Not because the original idea was bad, but because the execution would have been expensive and complex. Now let us move to changes that most people will never even notice, but they matter a lot. Because while some flexibility went away, the everyday safety details quietly got a lot better on the R2. Take the manual door release, for example, because it is being completely redesigned for the R2. It is being redesigned to be easier to see and placed right next to the main door handle. That might sound like a very minor thing until you stop and actually think about why it exists. In an emergency, nobody should be guessing where the manual release handle actually is inside the door. This is Rivian designing for real-world situations and real emergencies, not just for clean interior looks. It is a small change, but it is one of the most intentional changes that Rivian has made. And if anyone is listening, this same improvement needs to come to the R1 lineup as well. People should not have to rig up their own manual release solution just to stay safe inside. That needs to be properly fixed, and it needs to happen across the entire Rivian lineup now. Now let us talk about the rear wiper, because originally there was not much known about it. It is now tucked inside the rear window in a recessed channel with an integrated drain built in. It also has a heater built into it, which means better visibility when the weather gets really bad. Less ice buildup and fewer small annoyances over time means a better daily driving experience overall. It is not flashy at all, but it is actually very thoughtful when you think about it. When you stack these changes together, a very clear pattern starts to form about the R2's direction. Safety, reliability, and real-world usability are the actual priorities now driving every design decision being made. The R2 is not being optimized for stage demos anymore. It is being built for daily real use. Rivian is clearly asking a simple question with each change they make to the R2 design now. The question is, does this make the vehicle better for the people who will actually use it daily? When you frame it that way, almost every single change on this list starts to make sense. And that brings us to the engineering underneath the R2, which starts to look very different now. This is where the R2 stops feeling like a simplified Rivian and starts feeling like a smarter one. The suspension system underneath the R2 is completely new and not carried over from anything that came before. It is a multi-link setup with 5 stamped steel links mounted to an isolated rear subframe underneath. That combination is doing 2 very important jobs at exactly the same time for the R2. It is improving ride quality while also keeping the overall cost of manufacturing under solid control. Stamped steel links are cheaper and much easier to manufacture when you are building at large scale. But when you use more of them and tune them correctly, you still get precise and composed handling. That is not cutting corners at all. That is actually what real engineering discipline looks like in practice. And then there is the part that most people completely missed when this was first talked about. Rivian designed a brand new Starfish-forged aluminum rear knuckle specifically for the R2 suspension system. Instead of separate mounting points and bushings, this one single component integrates all 5 attachment points together. But why does that actually matter to a real driver who just wants a good ride? Think of it like this. Better unsprung mass management means the wheel reacts faster to road changes because it reduces unsprung mass, which directly improves ride comfort, responsiveness, and the overall feel of the vehicle. So while Rivian saved money in one area, they invested that money where it actually matters dynamically. This is the kind of change that you do not feel on a spec sheet at all. You feel it every single time the road gets rough underneath you, or the corner tightens up. The R2 is not cheaper because it is worse. It is cheaper because it is more intentional. Rivian figured out exactly where precision actually matters, and exactly where simplicity is genuinely good enough. And once you realize that, the next set of upgrades feels even more impressive than what came before. Because the biggest leap that the R2 makes is not mechanical at all. It is actually electrical. This is the part where the R2 quietly and completely leapfrogs even the current R1 platform itself. You heard that right. In some ways, the R2's electrical architecture is actually better than the R1's. Electrically, this is not a hand-me-down platform at all. It is a completely clean reset for Rivian. The R2's body wiring harness is a massive improvement over even the R1 Gen 2 design. It has fewer runs, a much cleaner architecture, and significantly less complexity built into the overall system. And that matters more than it sounds because wiring affects reliability, serviceability, and the vehicle's overall weight. It also affects how fast Rivian can actually build these vehicles at their manufacturing facility at scale. This is Rivian designing a vehicle that is actually engineered and optimized to be manufactured at real scale. And then there is a feature that many EV drivers have been waiting for a very long time. The R2 supports AC bidirectional charging up to 11 kilowatts, which is genuinely a game-changing capability. This means the R2 is not just a car anymore. It can actually power your entire home. It can run tools, power backup essentials during an outage, and support your life beyond just driving. That is a real everyday benefit that goes well beyond what most people expect from a car. And if you have an R1 right now, your vehicle is actually already capable of doing this too. The biggest question is simply when Rivian will actually allow their customers to use this capability. They have been completely silent on this topic for quite some time now, which is frustrating, honestly. The R2 is not the cheap Rivian. It is the first Rivian built for Rivian's next phase. It has a new electrical backbone, new priorities, and completely new expectations for what a Rivian can be. What all of this really tells you is that Rivian has matured a great deal as a company. The R2 feels like a product from a company that learned real lessons from the R1 launch. Now that you have seen the big structural changes, we get to the more personal and subjective ones. These next changes are the kind that people are genuinely going to argue about with each other. None of them are necessarily right or wrong. They just depend on how you personally use the vehicle. First, since the original announcement, the charging port on the R2 has moved to a new location. It is now on the left rear instead of the right rear, where it was originally positioned before. For a lot of people, that is a big win, especially when it comes to older charging setups. For others, especially if you have built habits around certain chargers, it can get a little annoying. Personally, the back right feels like it makes the most sense in the long run for most drivers. But people on the internet definitely do not agree on this one, and that debate will continue. What is nice is that it does make the R2 more practical at older Tesla supercharger stations. When you pull up, you do not have to worry about blocking 2 spots just to plug in. The other update to the R2 is cosmetic, and it involves Rivian introducing a brand new color. Originally, we saw the R2 in white, and now Rivian has also introduced a new shade of gray. It is very subtle, very clean, and honestly it works quite well as an option for the R2. It feels like a darker version of what already exists in the current Rivian color lineup today. It would not be surprising at all if this new gray eventually replaces one of the older colors. Rivian seems to want to keep only a certain number of color options available at any given time. So if you love a specific current color, buying sooner rather than later might be the smarter move. The way things are going, it seems like some of the older colors may not stick around long. We need to talk about what has not changed since the reveal, because this part matters most. Because after all of the trade-offs and redesigns, the core identity of the R2 is still intact. The new steering wheel is still there, and the rear window still drops down when you want it. The rear quarter panels still open up for that open-air feeling that makes the R2 feel special. These are not practical necessities that every single buyer needs. They are identity choices for the R2. Features like these do not typically survive cost-cutting exercises unless a company truly believes in them. The fact that they are still there tells you something real about how Rivian views this vehicle. And then there is the pricing, which is one of the most surprising things that has not changed. The base model of the R2 is still targeting a price of around $45,000 at launch. In a world where almost everything has gone up in price, that is genuinely not nothing at all. YEARS has been very confident and very consistent about holding that $45,000 target for the R2. It is also true that the $7,500 federal tax credit is no longer available to buyers. That absolutely affects many people who were planning their R2 purchase with that credit in mind. But that was not Rivian's decision. It is simply the environment that everyone is operating in right now. What is Rivian's decision is holding the line on what the R2 is actually supposed to be. Every single decision about the R2 points back to one consistent theme throughout the entire development process. Rivian wants this vehicle to work perfectly in the real world, not just look great on a stage. And that is a fundamentally different goal from the one that drove the very first R2 reveal. That shift in goal explains nearly every single thing that has changed and everything that has stayed. When you zoom out and look at everything together, the picture actually becomes surprisingly clear and focused. The R2 is not less ambitious than what was originally announced at the very beginning of all this. It is actually more focused now, and that focus is what makes it feel like a real product. Rivian did not simplify the R2 because they stopped caring about what made the vehicle special initially. They simplified it because they figured out what actually matters and what can realistically scale at volume. And whether that is the right call completely depends on what you personally wanted the R2 to be. If you wanted a modular adventure machine loaded with every possible outdoor feature, some things are missing. But if you wanted a smart, safe, and well-engineered electric vehicle at a reasonable price, it delivers. The R2 is still very much itself, just a more refined and realistic version of what was promised. It is the first Rivian that feels like it was designed with real production realities firmly in mind. And that might just be the most exciting thing about it, when you think about it carefully. So where do you land on all of these changes to the Rivian R2 after hearing all this? Which change matters the most to you, whether good or bad, when you look at the full picture? A full R2 configurator is expected to be coming soon, and when it arrives, things will get real. Until then, the R2 story is still being written, and there is still a lot more to come. Adventure is always out there waiting for you, and the R2 might just be how you find it.